a CFO, and he will tell us actually the details about the manufacturing and how the budget is going to push on that side. Let me welcome Mr. Rajeev Gupta, CFO of KEI Industries. Rajeev ji, can you hear me? Can you see me?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Amolji.
Thank you so much for your time, Rajeev ji.
Yes, sir.
So let me begin by asking you a specific question on the manufacturing private capex. I'm sure you heard the other speakers as well. The big story is, do you see the government's budget of 2026 is pushing the private capex manufacturing to the next level?
Yes, Amolji, very good because this government is focusing since last almost 15 years now because in the last 10 years this government is continuous focusing on the setting up the infrastructure because for any country to do a good business, it needs the infrastructure, whether it's a road or it's a railways or it's a ports. So this government is focusing towards because of the capital expenditure allocation of year after year, it is an increasing trend of capital expenditure.
Right.
Because last year it was revised budget was 11 lakh crore, now it is more than 12 lakh crore. So almost 11.5% they have increased the allocation for capital expenditure. Apart from this, they are allocating into semiconductor side and the data center side. So, and they are also allocating close to 2 lakh crore by way of loan towards the state for their infrastructure push up. So these things are required, actually basic requirement for any manufacturing setup. So in my view, by doing this, by from the government side, they are improving the business environment. They are basically giving the platform to make the capex plan from the private sector side, because I am from the private sector side and we are the manufacturing, so we are more focused towards the supply side. So when there is opportunity, so they are building the opportunities also for all of us. So that's how we are allocating the capex budget and we are going for manufacturing capacity increment. That's how we are going ahead.
Certainly. Let me get more out of what you just said. The government has pushed manufacturing as well as services in this particular budget. I could see the container segment, the chemical segment, the rare earth magnet segment. These are the new age economies which the government has spoken about, and there is a push not only from the the support side but the incentive side as well. For example, data centers 2047. They don't need to pay any tax till 2047. Huge initiatives on that side. Now you are operating in, I think if I'm not wrong, more than 40-50 countries, and in a power and cable segment.
Yes.
Do you see that you are going to add to your capacities? Do you trust on these initiatives that the government has announced, and you think that perhaps there will be a growth in your business? Do you going to put up more plants? Maybe do you going to add more capacities? Are you that positive?
Amulji, we are very, very positive because we are operating in almost 65 countries. And since last 3 years, we were focusing in USA and Europe. Unfortunately, due to this trade war, in the US, they imposed the more duty, but in the European market, we are very well established. Even in this financial year, we are increasing our export almost by 50%. We are increasing our capacity continuously. We are expanding our 2,000 crore investment in the Sanand plant in Ahmedabad. And in next 3 years, next 3 to 4 years, continuously, almost 3,000 crore capex we have planned continuously. So we are more focused about the capacity building because the government is working and government is creating the environment for that, as I earlier said. You see, this government is more focusing towards the globalization actually.
Right.
That's why more and more reforms in the taxation part, which we have seen in the last budget, that they are reforming the taxation processes. Like the earlier, they have corrected this dividend tax, like the buyback. Now they have again come to the long term, so that retail investors should not get hit for that. So this government is worried for all of us. But sometimes what happens, in a single year, everything cannot happen. So the government has to focus on one by one, sector by sector, state by state. So sometimes we may see that that this sector has not given the push or this state has not given the push. But the reality is the government has limited funds and everybody has limited funds. But the role of the government is to create environment to have the opportunity actually for the private sector, which from where we belong, because we are catering to the capital goods, because we are
Right.
manufacturing wire and cable, and wire and cable goes to the capital goods consumption actually, and almost 3 to 4% capex requirement is the wire and cable. So year after year, we are continuously growing at a pace of 20% CAGR. So this means the capex is going on from the government sector as well as from the private side. You see, in a year, almost last year, close to 10 to 11 lakh crore capex was from the government side. Close to 4 to 5 lakh crore spent was from the state government side. So this much of spent was going on, and government was continuously attracting under PLI scheme lots of manufacturing hub for the electronic goods and the semiconductor, which is now the reality and everybody is accepting. In the yesterday's budget, they have given a strong push for the data center. You see,
Right.
once we want to be a global economy by 2047 and uh, the strong economy and a developed nation, so we need to have a technology booster in the country. So that's where the government is
Yes.
basically innovating the new areas, and they are allocating and they are encouraging people to do in those areas.
I absolutely agree with you, Rajiv ji. There is no doubt about the growth story. There is no doubt about the positivity and the macro story. I also copy you on the investment part. But what intrigues me is if government is going to putting more than 10 lakh crore every year. In fact, this year it went from 11 lakh crore to 12 lakh crore. States are putting 3 to 5 lakh crore every year, which goes to more than 15, 16 lakh crore as a public capex. If you could maybe highlight one or two point in terms of what is it that holding CFOs back from signing the check and put the private capex and add more capacities.
Sir, as a CFO of KEI Industry, we are continuously focusing on the capex. As I said, we started an investment 2,000 crore from last year, and so from in the current financial year, we will complete that 2,000 crore investment. Then the next capex we have already planned in our Baroda plant and in our Bhiwadi plant. So next 3 year capex is also close to 3,000 crore capex. So
Okay.
that kind of bullishness the companies like KEI is having. So it is not only KEI. So
Right.
lots of so many companies in the country, those who are looking for that kind of opportunity, and they are continuously focusing on the capex. So you see, sometimes we are sometimes feeling from the stock market point of view, because stock market point of view we should not take into consideration for the growth, because sometimes it may be STT, sometimes it may be the basically the other political organizations, like sometimes they can move their funds to China, or sometimes they can move their fund to Japan or some other country.
Right.
But you see, if you see in the long run, it is also good. But now, in next 5 years, we will not be dependent on the FIIs. You see, as far as it is month on month basis, continuously FII is taking back the money. Who is funding that money? From the domestic saving, all the retail investor money through the DII. So
Okay.
we are building a very strong fund base, funds in the country for the equity market, which will be enabler to the now the new they have announced for the municipal bond or another corporate bond. So it will be a alternative to a traditional method of financing. So that is available because of the encouragement from the government. The earnings are improving, and the government. Because you see, I am happy when
Right.
FII is moving out from the country, because at the long term we have to sustain on ourselves. So I am on that kind of personality, because we ultimately we need to depend on our domestic
Definitely.
investor. So in next 5 years, if the FII are taking back and domestic are replacing them, so this means we are going in a very strong hand actually in future. So
Right.
practically it is a very very long term strategic budget, and it's a very balanced budget this government has given, in my
Certainly,
opinion.
sir. Noted your points. Maybe last questions before I let you go, which is absolutely which matters the most to the again CFOs. So CFOs always talk about the compliance, the regulations, burdens, and I think the government in whatever manner, I think they have been trying to relax the norms in their own way. GST rationalization was one part. Obviously, the more could have been done, but whatever they have done, I think the industry is happy with it, which I can see. In your view, because the government said over 350 reforms have been made, the compliance burden has been reduced. How do you see the ease of doing business? Do you think that this budget has spoken about it aggressively? Do you think the measures which the government has taken for ease of doing business will help CFOs like you?
So this, as I said, this government has focused on the tax reforms in the country. So this is again because the job of the government is to simplifying the tax so that we can match towards the global organizations. Because if these global organizations are coming to India, they first need whether they are having that kind of accountability or the accounting treatment in the country, and they are having ease of doing business by way of tax or by way of the other sectors. In each and every sector, government is slowly moving towards ease of doing business. Government is implementing AI now in each and every field, where now there are now the faceless the tax scrutiny cases are going on. So the government is more focusing toward data center, so they can build the AI, and the companies are using the AI for the compliance matter also. So these kind of push are there from the government side. Government are investing in those sectors, and the companies are also investing in the AI and the digitization and the analytical tool rather than only accounting. Now we are investing in the analyzing actually, and we are investing into the AI now.
Certainly, sir. Thank you so much for sharing those meaningful thoughts on this platform and decoding budget with us, which helped my readers and viewers. Thank you so much, Rajiv ji.